beseech you to behold with your abundant favor and blessings as your servants whom you have been pleased to call to leadership positions in this republic. We seek guidance to treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you have committed to our charge. Amen.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Okay, order. Honorable Senators, I would like Honorable Senators, I would like to acknowledge the presence in the public gallery this afternoon of visiting teachers and students from the Stepping Stones Elementary School, Kitengela, Kajiado County, who are on an academic trip. Honorable Senators, in our usual tradition of receiving and welcoming visitors to Parliament, I extend a warm welcome to them, and on behalf of the Senate and my own behalf, wish them a fruitful visit. I thank you. I also have another communication. I would like also to acknowledge the presence in the public gallery this afternoon of visiting teachers and history students from Chania Girls High School in Kiambu County who are on an academic trip. In our Honorable Senators, in our usual tradition of receiving and welcoming visitors to Parliament, I extend a warm welcome to them, and on behalf of the Senate and on my own behalf, wish them a fruitful visit. I thank you. Senator Pareno Judith.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I join you to welcome the students from both schools. One person from Kitengela as well, so I'm happy to see students from Kitengela. You're welcome to the Senate, as our Speaker has already told you. Do the best to learn from the best, because I believe this Senate has the best of brains in terms of the members who are here. You will be able to see what we do and how you will become leaders Today it is us to be the senators, tomorrow it shall be you. So thank you for coming.
Senator Bogisho.
Speaker, I just want to add my voice to that of Senator Pareno and to join you, the Speaker, in welcoming these young students who have come today to the Senate. And just to tell them that they are welcome another time also. Today, these are the final days of our time here. Senate is almost coming to an end. It's 12th Parliament. So we want to say karibu, find another time and also come and visit to understand what goes on. The business of the House is all for the welfare of the nation and the counties particularly. So that's what the nation does, that's what the Senate does. I want to say welcome to both schools and to both groups that have come. Feel at home. This is the house of the people. We represent the people. And send our messages back to your homes and to your school, that the Senate greets you. Thank you very much.
Senator Msurwe.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to join you in welcoming the students in the House. And Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the teachers of Chania for deciding to bring students in the House to get in touch with what exactly happens in terms of legislation. And Honorable Speaker, I can see the girls have bright faces, very brilliant, from Chania Girls, the history class. And this is a class that is really going to write our history. And I'm happy to see that the girls are keen to follow the proceedings of the Senate, Honorable Speaker, and it must be very clear that we have to mentor our girls, and this trip is very important for them because they forever remember that they came into the House. And I want to tell you girls that you really need to just work very hard. Some years ago, very many years ago, I remember I was where you are, and most of us were also where you are, and I'm also a student of history. I was keen about leadership, and I can see very good leaders before us. I can see doctors before us. I can see legislators before us. Girls, I want to tell you that yes, it's doable, and the girl child can go very far. The fact that you've come here, you're already a leader in the making, and take advantage of the history class and ensure that you fly the flag of our country very high, because this is a time when we are recognizing that the girl child can also lead, the girl child can also be educated, and it is in the right mood and in the right tune for you to be here. Welcome, and thank you, teachers, for making it a priority to bring students here for a trip even before Senate comes to an end. And even attachment, later on, I'm sure some of these girls will be here, and it will be a boon for you in academic ladder, in your leadership ladder. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. Welcome to this House.
Senator Wambua.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you for this opportunity. I want to thank you and my colleagues as I join you to welcome the visiting delegation of teachers and students from Kitengela and Kiambu. Mr. Speaker, I want to say this visit is an important one, important because it's an opportunity for the students at their age to prepare themselves for leadership roles now and in the future. And so as they follow proceedings of this August, I just want to add and to aspire to occupy leadership positions now and in the future. Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Next order.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions.
Yeah. Leader, you can table the reports. We've just approved them.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to lay the following petition reports on the table of the Senate today, 9th June 2022. 1, the report of the Senate Standing Committee on Land, Environment and Natural Resources on a petition concerning illegal alienation of parcel of land, Embu/Municipality/375 leasehold by Child Welfare Society of Kenya. 2, the report of the Standing Committee on Land, Environment and Natural Resources on a petition to approve the proposed Environment Institute of Kenya, EIK, bill. 3, the report of the Senate Standing Committee on Land, Environment and Natural Resources on a petition to expunge the alleged offensive provisions in the Water Services Regulations 2021 and the Water Resources Regulations 2021. Number 4, Mr. Speaker, report on the Senate Standing Committee on Land, Environment and Natural Resources on a petition by Kirimun residents regarding historical land injustices against Samburu community living in the Kirimun, Laikipia North, Laikipia County. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Leader, you can.
The Speaker, sir, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the Senate today, the 9th June 2022. A report of the Standing Committee on Labor and Social Welfare on a study visit on sports development and management in the United Kingdom. Thank you, Speaker.
Next order.
Order number 5, notices of motion. Order number 7, statements.
Senator Pareno Judith.
Mr. Speaker, I've just given out a copy of that statement for photocopying. I asked for
Okay.
a few minutes for me to be able to read
Then
it
Senator
out.
Wambua can read his ready.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 48.1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations regarding heightened insecurity perpetuated by gun-wielding bandits who have invaded and attacked residents of Ikandani area in Mudha ward of Kitui South constituency in Kitui County. The Speaker, a Mr. Munyao Mutia, an innocent citizen, was shot by the attackers on Sunday, 5th June 2022. The Speaker, I'm happy I'm raising this statement when the leader of majority is in the House, so that even if the chairman of the Security Committee is not around, you should take note, Mr. Speaker, because this is a serious, serious matter. In the statement, Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee should, one, appraise the Senate on the measures the national government has put in place in response to the current insecurity in Ikandani area in Mudha ward of Kitui South constituency, Kitui County, in securing lives and properties of the residents, giving clear timelines. Mr. Speaker, the people of the affected area are aware that the government is taking very, very stern measures elsewhere in the country to deal with an issue similar to what they are facing today. Number two, Mr. Speaker, the committee should state the reasons for the delay in resolving these incessant banditry attacks while providing targeted interventions in strengthening security. Number three, the committee should clarify whether the Ministry of Interior and Coordination of National Government has established additional police posts in the affected areas or deployed rapid deployment unit and the National Police Reservists to complement security apparatus to ensure effective addressing of the conflict. And number four, state targeted measures, if any, in seeking sustainable solutions to the banditry attacks, stating whether communities in the area have been involved through public participation in seeking these solutions. Mr. Speaker, you indulge me just for a minute. This matter, Mr. Speaker, has been a serious issue in this area for many years. Last year, the Minister for Interior, accompanied by the Inspector General of Police, tried to address this issue, but it has come back. Elsewhere in the country, Mr. Speaker, we have seen the government moving very, very fast and swiftly to even issue curfew notices and disarming people that are illegally owning guns. But here's a situation where, Mr. Speaker, for the longest time, our people living in Kandani and actually almost the entire Mudha ward, every now and then when there's a drought, they are attacked by people who are adding camels, and when those animals get into the farms belonging to the people of Mudha ward, and the people try to repulse those animals, they are attacked, even killed. Mr. Speaker, we want a lasting solution to this menace. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Musurve.
Honorable Speaker, I would like to support Senator Wambua in seeking for this statement. I think there's need for a sustainable solution with regard to banditry attacks, Honorable Speaker, and the fact that guns are on the loose. This is something that should be checked very thoroughly, because guns are supposed to be, by specific people, especially, our security forces, so that they can help in protecting us. But when we have guns on the loose, it means that there's something not right. And even as we're talking about banditry attacks in the area that Senator has mentioned, there are also parts of this country that are in their situation of security measures because of banditry attacks, and there's need for also an investigation to be done whether the Nyumba Kumi initiative is working, whether village elders are also being used to ensure that there is peace all over. Because most of the time, Honorable Speaker, you find that when there are bandits around or when there are thugs in an area, some of these thugs are known, and it is possible for Nyumba Kumi to come out and say clearly who are the thugs in the areas, Honorable Speaker. This is a very important statement that needs to be investigated, that needs to be interrogated, that needs a lasting solution for ensuring that, Honorable Speaker, all Kenyans are safe wherever they are. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity you've given me to support this statement.
Thank you, Senator Msurwe. Senator Pareno, next statement.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to make a statement pursuant to Standing Order 48-1 on the killing of 5 bystanders by JCU officers in Masimba area of Kenyatta Ward in Kajiado County. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 48-1, I seek a statement from the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations on the killings of 5 bystanders by JSU officers in Masimba area of Kenyatta Ward in Kajiado County. In the statement, the committee should appraise the Senate on the circumstances that led to the killing of 5 bystanders during demonstrations by women who are protesting the murder of another 7 persons killed by rogue elephants in the area. 2, state the progress of the investigations into the alleged use of excessive force and live bullets against the demonstrators by police officers during the demonstrations. 3, state whether any arrests have been made, and if not, state the reasons why and what measures that have been put in place to ensure the JCU officers responsible for the deaths of the bystanders are held responsible. Mr. Speaker, the people who are held, I wish to name them, are Pelo Muterian, who were killed by the elephants. Initially, the elephants killed the people, they protest, then the JCU come and kill more people. So the ones who are killed by the elephants are Pelo Muterian, Sonke Marona, Tagore Parkisalia, Felix Muluma, Kilapai, and more have been injured and are still at Makindu Hospital. That is Kibaki Kindi Muluma. And then, Mr. Speaker, the police during the demonstrations come and kill one Ndidu Teo, Lemomir Topoika, and Duncan Munge. Mr. Speaker, we would wish the committee to state whether any arrests have been made, and if not, why the arrests have been made, and who is responsible for this killing. Mr. Speaker, I also wish the committee at number 4 to outline the measures, if any, to compensate the families of the deceased whose deaths were caused by the elephants and those whose deaths were caused by the JCU officers. Then 5, explain the measures taken by KWS, the Kenya Wildlife Service, to move and contain the rogue elephants in the area as they continue to cause mayhem and they continue to kill more people. Number 6, state the measures, if any, to evict trespassers from the park who are majorly the cause for the displacements of the elephants, and which in turn is causing the displacements of the community and mayhem and death. Mr. Speaker, I submit.
Senator Cherargei.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to tell the majority leader we are always following online and we are aware of the order paper. So, Mr. Speaker, when I saw this on the statement by my sister, Senator Pareno, my deepest condolences and our thoughts and prayers with the families. I think this issue of extrajudicial killings, it has reached a time that we must have a candid conversation. And I'm happy Senator Pareno is a member of national security. I remember in Lesotho, Mr. Speaker, a few years back ago, the police killed one of my people in Lesotho because of not wearing a mask, and it brought hue and cry. And the police, National Police Service Commission, the Inspector General of Police, the Ministry of Interior promised to prosecute, dismiss, but up to date, the families continue to suffer in Lesotho. And you remember the aftermath was burning of police station because of the anchor. So when I saw this issue on media and the sisters, Senator Pareno has brought before the House, where are we going as a country? The sanctity of life as provided for under Article 26. We would have expected, Mr. Speaker, that by the time you resort using live bullets, it should be the last resort. They are rubber bullets. There are many ways of subduing or arrest anybody who is affront to the law. And therefore, losing these people because our officers, just want to kill to ensure they contain the people, Mr. Speaker, is very unfortunate. It is, and I hope the Committee of National Security can come. And I remember, Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Interior, Inspector General of Police, have appeared before this Parliament and have assured that the sanctity of life, even if there is nowhere in the law, Mr. Speaker, that says even if you get somebody stealing, you are supposed to execute them or the extrajudicial or Chikapi police officers. We appreciate, Mr. Speaker, that there are so many good police officers, but there are few elements who have criminalized the police. And therefore, the JSU are expected by the time Senator Pareno brings this statement, those JSU officers must have been suspended. The prosecution through the IPOA, through the chain of command within the JSU command, Mr. Speaker, they should have already been either being prosecuted, they are being suspended, Mr. Speaker, and ensure that one inch.
Yes, what's your point of information? I hope he wants to be informed.
Information on two things. First, the people who were killed were simply by the roadside, bystanders watching a protest by women.
Take your seat, Senator.
So that is one information that I want, some piece of information I want to give to Senator Cherargei. So they did not kill them while they were trying to control them. They killed bystanders who were watching a protest. So the women were protesting, they killed the men who were bystanders. So they killed 5 of them, and 5 are in hospitals. The other thing is, it is not, they have not arrested even a single person up to now. Yet, it was clear that they were JSU officers who just drove by, sprayed bullets, and left.
Okay, proceed.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Senator Pareno, for that information. Mr. Speaker, it shows that, and you know it's hard, by the way, Mr. Speaker, to prosecute police officers or the JSU. Because how can they investigate themselves? Because by the fact that I thought it is easy because they could just collect bullet cartridges and did the forensic, because government bullets are known, Mr. Speaker. It is very unfortunate. Now, where are we safe? If a bystanders can be shot and no one has been arrested, there are no investigations, I think even IPOA in Suamoto, not necessarily, even the DPP, Mr. Speaker, because no one should direct the DPP or even the IPOA to do their job. They even do Suamoto by even on their own motion starting the investigation, Mr. Speaker. And it is very unfortunate because even before those people are buried, Mr. Speaker, if the investigations had begun, they should be aware of even ensuring that post-mortem results are retrieved, the scene of crime is well secured, and I know the reason, Mr. Speaker, my sister Senator Pareno and myself being practitioners of law, is that they wanted to tamper with the scene and ensure some of the vital evidence get lost, so that at the end of the day, when those officers face the prosecution, Mr. Speaker, they don't have an opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to be prosecuted. So I think I want to request, Mr. Speaker, before maybe by Tuesday next week, since this is a very serious issue, that they should, the committee should report progress report, and the DPP and the IG and Ministry of Interior and the JSU command, Mr. Speaker, should tell us what really happened, because we can't operate like that, Mr. Speaker. I don't know, even we have been having security issues, like in Mandera, like even there were 3 children that were killed in Keriovale, Mr. Speaker. Just like our little visitors, I can see most of them are young students, young people, Mr. Speaker. The same age, they were being shot by bandits in Keriovale. They were buried, the 3 of them. And I know Senator Majority Leader, being the neighbor of Elgeyo Marakwet County, has a clear picture of what is happening. So, Mr. Speaker, I think the issue of insecurity.
What do you mean by order? What do you mean by he has a clear picture of what is happening? Do you mean he knows what is going on, or is part of it? Or?
No, Mr. Speaker, I'm saying, Mr. Speaker, I'm saying he, as a neighbor senator and comes from Rose Region with me, we have a clear picture of what we know what is happening. I'm not saying Mr. Speaker, that Majority Leader is aware of what is happening. No.
Senator Bogisho, what's your point of intervention?
Thank you, Speaker. As you can see, Mr. Speaker, that Senator Cherargei is struggling to explain himself, because he knows where he has taken himself to a corner. and that they cannot explain. Speaker, I think basically the issue that he's raising, and I hope it is not contemplating that I have an idea what's happening in Kerio Valley. Kerio Valley, Speaker, for his information, is made up of the two groups, the Pokot and the Marakwet. They all live in the Kerio Valley. And both of them have made losses of each other. And I think the situation is a security situation generally. And he's not pointing a finger at anyone because, you know, Speaker, he knows the truth. Thank you.
Yes, Cherargei. Yes, what's your point of order, Senator Kinyua?
Mr. Speaker, Senator Cherargei made it very clear. He said that the majority leader has a clear picture. It's so clear what he said, and I don't know why he's struggling to explain, because he said the majority leader has a clear picture, and the two words are very clear to us.
I think in his explanation, he now tried to be part of those who are in the picture. That's what he was now trying to explain, and that's not what he said initially. But let's allow him to proceed.
Mr. Speaker, my apologies if that statement was misinterpreted. But I know Senator Pogisho is a peace-loving Kenyan, being a long-standing leader in this republic. And he's also the chair, Mr. Speaker. I saw him leading prayer breakfast. So he's a prayerful man, and he hope we pray for all of us, Mr. Speaker. So in conclusion, Mr. Speaker, we want to ensure that anybody, and I want to appeal to Senator Pareno, even as the committee seizes of the matter, you can commence private prosecution against these officers. And I hope the witnesses who are there cannot be intimidated, because we know, Mr. Speaker, there are many cases that face some of the rock. I don't want to say the police or the JSU or security, some of the rock elements within our security sector. There are some who are rogue. Most of them are good. I hope you can write and commence private prosecution if DPP will not. And I hope the witnesses shall not be intimidated so that these people can receive justice. It is so painful. I can imagine the agony, the pain that most of the families and the beneficiaries and dependents are going through. So we pray for their families. If there is any other support, Senator Pareno, that you need us through this house to contribute for their families, for their well-being, for their funeral arrangements, I can assure you, you have the full support of the Senate. But I hope the security managers are watching, and I hope they will take action and ensure these criminals within the issue must be prosecuted. They must face full force of the law. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Senator Wambua.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Speaker, I stand with my colleague and my sister, Senator Pareno, and the families that lost their loved ones in this very, very unfortunate incident. Mr. Speaker, as we come to the tail end of the 12th Parliament, one thing is very clear, that slowly but surely, the police officers are sliding back to the dark days of extrajudicial killings. And Mr. Speaker, it is this House that will have to make a bold statement through action to ensure that these things don't happen and that we meaningfully progress from a police force to a police service where people, innocent Kenyans, look up to police officers for assistance, for service, and they run to them to seek refuge if and when things are not going on very well for them. The Speaker, today is a dark day in this country. Members will remember that on the day that this incident happened, our own colleague, the whip of the minority side, Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr. was attacked at the same place. I want to take this opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to specifically address the IG. At a time like this, when such a bad thing happens, where innocent people are just lining up on the streets and watching mayhem taking place, and somebody just drives through and shoots you dead and goes away, and to date, almost a week later, not a single person has been arrested or even made to record a statement for that action. You know, today, Mr. Speaker, it is those innocent people in Kajiado who perhaps, apart from Senator Pareno, have very little other recourse. They will just collect the bodies of their dead, bury them, and that is it. Tomorrow, Mr. Speaker, it could be someone else. Mr. Speaker, I want to request the Committee of Security, even as we prepare to adjourn, to make sure that the statement that comes out of this request by Senator Pareno is one that sends the right message to the National Police Service, that Kenyans are not ready, they are not willing to slide back to the dark days when police officers would kill people at will and get away with it. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Nderitu John.
Asanti sana Bwana Spika kwa kunipa fursa hii. Kwanza kabisa ningependa kupeana risala zangu za rambirambi kwa jamaa na familia hizi walizopoteza wapendwa wao. Na ni jambo la kuzunisha sana Bwana Spika wakati kama huu, na jambo ambalo linaudhi ni kwa sababu wale watu wa kutoka pale Masimba walikuwa wakiandamana kisheria, kwa sababu katika sheria zetu mtu anaweza kuandamana. Walipokuwa wakiandamana, kisa na maana ya wao kuandamana ni kwa sababu tayari wenzao 7 wamevamiwa na ndovu na kuuawa. Baada ya wao kuvamiwa na kuuawa na wao kwenda kuandamana wakidhania kwamba watapata msaada, kile ambacho walikipata ni wao kupigwa na risasi watu ambao hawakuwa katika yale maandamano, watu waliokuwa wakiangalia zile vurumai zikitendeka. Wakapigwa risasi na kuuawa watu wengine 5. Sasa ukijumuisha unaona ya kwamba kumeuawa zaidi ya watu 13, kwa sababu wao walidhania kwamba iko wimbo na kumbuka ukiimbwa. Sasa wananchi wa pale Kajiado wanashindwa, tukimbilie polisi? Hapana. Tukimbilie msituni mahali iko ndovu? Hapana. Kwa sababu popote watakapoenda watauawa. Na hata pengine wanaona ndovu ni wazuri kushinda askari, kwa sababu ndovu waliuawa watu 7. Askari wameua watu 5 na 5 wengine wako katika hospitali. Kwa hivyo vile ambavyo tungependa kusema ni ya kwamba mkuu wa polisi pamoja na waziri Matiang'i walishughulikia jambo hili kwa dharura, kwa sababu vile watu wanavyotaka ni haki yao. Na wao hawa majamaa wa KWS ama wanaoshughulikia mbuga zetu washughulikie hawa wanyama, kwa sababu hawa wanyama wakivamia mashamba ya watu pale Masimba, wakivamia mashamba ya watu hata Laikipia, hiyo si hoja. Ndovu wakiwa watu si hoja. Lakini kama ingekuwa ni mtu wa Masimba au Laikipia, Rumuruti au Kimanjo wangemuua ndovu moja, hapo ndio ungejua ya kwamba serikali ina mkono mrefu. Sisi tunauliza, wale wanyama ndio wana faida zaidi kushinda wananchi, au ni wananchi wana faida kushinda wale wanyama? Hilo ndio swali ambalo limekuwa ni kizungumkuti kwetu, na ni jambo la kuvunja moyo sana. Kwa hivyo kamati ambayo itakapewa jukumu hili washughulikie hili jambo kwa haraka iwezekanavyo, ndio watu waweze kupata haki yao. Ikiwa wakati huu tunaongea hapa, katika taarifa hii inasema ya kwamba haijulikani nani aliua nani, hakuna mtu yote aliyeshikwa. Na kama ni ndovu, niliona juzi wakati kulisemekana simba ameuawa, unaona magari karibu 100 ya askari polisi wakiwa huko ikiwinda wananchi kama swara. Lakini wananchi wakiuawa inasemekana ni kawaida, watu wapelekwe katika mochari na hiyo ikuwe ni kawaida. Kwa hivyo kamati hii ishughulikie jambo hili kwa dharura na wale watu waweze kupata haki yao. Lakini swali linalojiuliza, nani atakaye fidia hizi familia? Asante Bwana Speaker.
Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr. on Zoom.
Thank you, Speaker. First of all, let me offer my condolences to the 5 victims of...
Senator Jr.
Can I be heard, Speaker?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, my condolences to the family of the 5 people who lost their lives during that incident. As Senator Mbu has pointed out before, I was a victim because I accidentally ran into that protest. Mr. Speaker, I want to say that had it not been for quick action of both my driver and my bodyguard, I would have possibly lost my life during that demonstration, because the demonstrators were so angry, threw stones indiscriminately at my official car. Of course, I attempted to calm them down when I got off my vehicle, but luckily I escaped unhurt. I also tried, Mr. Speaker, to look for the governor of Kajiado on my way to Makindu, which is past that particular place. Because in Makwiny, although we have the similar issues, protesters do not become violent to block the road. And in any case, the families get the attendance and they are compensated as quickly as possible. So we've not had such an incident, and it's unfortunate that the victims, and surprisingly, Mr. Speaker, the demonstrators were all women. The people who were obviously on the sideline, some of the men who were protecting the women, but the bulk of the demonstrators were women. I was very concerned that 4 hours later to learn that 4 or 5 people had been shot at the same roadblock. It was unnecessary. The government should have found an opportunity for either the county governor of Kajiado, the minister in charge of provincial administration, Matiang'i, who later went to Kajiado. The minister in charge of tourism should have gone to the said demonstration to address the demonstrators instead of using such excess force. It was unnecessary. They were not armed. The women who were demonstrating were carrying twigs. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, it is so unfortunate that a demonstration about human-wildlife conflict would end up with 5 burials. It is so unfortunate. It is even more unfortunate that although they stoned my car indiscriminately, half of the people who were injured ended up in hospitals in Makwiny. Mr. Speaker, action should be taken, but more importantly, government must be sensitive to the plight of Kenyans. It was quite unfortunate to learn from them that so many weeks after that incident, that is the elephants killing a teacher, a lady, the KWS had not bothered to go to the family, KWS had not bothered to attend to them, and therefore they were obviously angry, and rightly so, because a government that does not care for its citizens, Mr. Speaker, is not a government. Mr. Speaker, in both Makwiny, Kitui, Taita Taveta, and I have a case where I'm holding brief for a family. A young Form 4 student was found by mistake in the park 2 years ago, was shot to death by KWS officers on his knees. Yet, when Kenyans demonstrate, when elephants get out of the park and kill people, the result is 5 people are dead. It is not right that, in fact, the media managed to make sure that this incident did not find itself anywhere in the press. Nobody knows that 5 demonstrators were killed on a highway for simply protesting against KWS not taking responsibility for elephants that are roaming around, coming to tour human habitat as if they have become themselves tourists. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I support this statement. Condemn the actions of the police, condemn the belated action by government, where they send their cabinet secretaries after they have killed the victims. And yet, Mr. Speaker, the 7 victims of the human wildlife attack have not been compensated, and no word from government on when those victims should be compensated. Since we have agreed as a country that we must have parks, national parks, next to human habitats, Mr. Speaker, government must take action to ensure that these elephants do not cross into human habitats. In a place like Laikipia, where Senator John Kinyua comes from, they have built an elaborate corridor for the migration of elephants. They walk around like they are part and parcel of Kenya. But in places like Kajiado, Taita Taveta, Kitui, Mr. Speaker, like in a place called Evingoni in Zambani in makwiny, the elephants come out at 5 as if they are on a roll call. One of the elephants, Mr. Speaker, we have named it Mwanzia because it just walks around at 5 o'clock. It is unfortunate that although this is our natural heritage, government is making 9% of the GDP from our parks. The people next to those parks are the greatest victims of this human-wildlife conflict. The elephants have destroyed our crops, they have killed our people, and Mr. Speaker, you will not get compensation. Yet a child who is found picking firewood in the park is fined 200,000 on the spot. It is a country of unequals. The animals that are in our parks live better, are treated better than the human beings of this country. It is unfortunate, and I support the statement.
Senator Bogisho. Senator Pareno, what is your point of intervention?
Unfortunately, when he's on Zoom, I was wondering how to intervene so that I give him more information on what happened. Mr. Speaker, one of the bystanders who was shot was actually a man who was riding. Do we say riding or a mukokoteni? Pushing a mukokoteni. In his daily chores, just walking along the road, stops to see what is happening with his mukokoteni, shot dead. The other one was a man and a wife. The man was coming from the slaughterhouse. He's a slaughterman in the slaughterhouse, and he was with a wife. They had just come from slaughtering, and they are just walking by the side. The bullet fell. The man is fell down by the bullet. The woman is left just standing there. Another one is my own a campaigner, a supporter who I know, a young man at the university. He just said, "Please hold me because I feel that I've been shot." That was the end of that young man. And on the day that Matiang'i came to the ground, when all the leaders were there, what happens? They order that the helicopters come to drive away the elephants, because elephants can only be driven by that kind of noise by the helicopters. And when they come, what do? They drive the elephants into people. Another 3 injured and in hospital as they try to drive them off. Why I wanted Senator Mutula to hear this is because he drove into that protest, and some of the women were said to have also been knocked down, as he was trying to escape. The other thing is, as immediately after Senator Mutula left is when the people came and sprayed. So we don't know the relationship between what happened on the ground and why they came and who told them to come. And finally, Mr. Speaker, when Matiang'i came, Mr. Matiang'i, CS Matiang'i came, he came and said, "We shall arrest, we shall hold them accountable, and I'll bring food." And I wanted to tell him, we don't need food on our dead people. I'll bring food, because we have drought. It is true we have drought. But at that moment, what we didn't need is that food. What we needed is the life of our people to be protected. So I wanted to inform Senator Mutula, but with Zoom,
so that you don't
it's not possible.
debate your own statement. Senator Bogisho.
Even on a serious matter, I think Senator Pareno was beginning to speak more than once to her own statement, and that information. My condolences, Speaker, for the lives lost, the families affected. Speaker, there is no side to this kind of issue. There is no government side, there is no opposition side. It is a side of the people that we are on. And so when people, Mr. Speaker, fall victim of maybe a security, gone wrong, Speaker, it is every one of us who is affected. And Mr. Speaker, I just wanted to let the House know that it's also unfortunate that this serious matter is coming to the House, Speaker, towards the tail end of our time here, when we only have a few days before we go on recess sine die. But a matter like this can continue to be handled even by special sittings because it's that crucial. The Speaker, I want to say that the story, even the one that we heard about the people of Kandani and the whole ward of Mutha, the people there, and people from the Kerio Valley and people from the Baringo and so on, Speaker, these are things that affect all of us. And there's no tribe to this. I tell you, some people think that because the Pokot and the Marakwet, they don't know. All these people suffer, Speaker. They suffer the same. They suffer the same. In fact, it's just that we hear a lot about one of the communities or two of the communities who may make their loud claims. And there's some of the communities like mine, Mr. Speaker, who are so quiet. They never say anything when their people are killed. It's not because of we don't support any of the people who bear arms, illegal arms, to go and kill anybody. Because, Mr. Speaker, that's wrong. And we condemn them just as much. And that's why, Mr. Speaker, as we speak today, as the government has gone ahead and declared curfew on these people, all three, the Marakwet, the Pokot, and also in Baringo, in Baringo, because there are no innocent people and there are no guilty people in there. They're all in this mix, Mr. Speaker, that has become a headache for the security forces. And to come directly, Mr. Speaker, to the issue of the wildlife-human conflict and that particular incident, and I was hoping that Senator Pareno would bring us at least some encouraging news that when the minister was there, plus the commission, the Inspector General of Police, and everybody was there, at least something happened to the understanding of the people. At least that's what I thought. Because that was a good show, that they were there to try and deal with that matter. And as much as it's possible, we need to see the effort of the government, the immediate response that the government cares about what happens to the people. You may not be able to solve the entire issue now, but at least the quick response to show interest. And I wanted to say sorry to our friend. I know the case where Mr. Mutula was attacked. In the same incident, he was attacked, and I was wondering, the people wanted to kill our whip and so on. I hope they're not related, as you're saying. But even he was in danger. Even his life was in danger. So we're just saying, Mr. Speaker, that the response should be quick. And because we are all seized with this matter, Mr. Speaker, I'll do my best also as the majority leader to make sure the committee and the concerned parties, including government security, does address this matter as urgently as they can. So even if we are on recess or we recess sine die, we still have these matters to deal with. And we should deal with them once and for all, because human-wildlife conflict is going to be with us for some time, as long as we have not created the corridors for this wildlife to go, to pass through. So, again, I said, Mr. Speaker, this statement is very serious, and it will be a very important and priority for us to make sure that a solution is found. And so I support both statements, and I wish those in hospital quick recovery, and I hope that this matter will be dealt with. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Musuruve.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I support this statement by Senator Pareno, and it is unfortunate, Honorable Speaker, that 12 people died in the incident. And on behalf of my family and myself, I condole with the families of the 12, the 5 bystanders, and the 7 who were killed by rogue elephants. And it is very clear that the genesis of this incident is a human-wildlife conflict. And this is a conflict that we must see how to resolve as a country, because yes, wildlife bring in tourism, and it also helps in increasing the revenue, generating the revenue, but this should not be at the expense of wananchi. Honorable Speaker, there is need to really ensure that even KWS comes before us. Even when Senate, dies, I think goes to recess. This is an issue that needs to be interrogated. KWS need to come before us, and they need to be sanctioned. For any human life that is lost because of wildlife, KWS needs to come on board and ensure that it is sanctioned, and this will make them more careful so that many people do not die. Honorable Speaker, you can imagine the 12 people who died. Some of them are even, breadwinners in their families. So you can imagine the number of children who will not go to school because their father or mother has died in the incident. And when you're talking about compensation of these families, if they are school-going children, those children, KWS should take responsibility and ensure that they educate these children up to where their brains will take them. If these children will go to colleges, then KWS needs to take responsibility. If they're going to universities, KWS needs to take responsibility, Honorable Speaker. We must act seriously so that KWS also ensures that they're protecting wildlife, they're protecting human beings, Honorable Speaker, because it is a painful state of affairs that, human beings are lost. And even when it comes to compensation, Honorable Speaker, there are cases that have even come on the floor of this House where human beings, are attacked by wildlife, and some of them have become PWD. So I wonder whether KWS has been compensating these Kenyans who have become PWDs because of being beaten by wildlife, Honorable Speaker. They need to investigate this matter and even investigate why the police decided to kill the bystanders. I think that there is a need for thorough investigation, Honorable Speaker, because thorough investigation will bring out the reality of what exactly happened on the ground, because we have to actually inform Kenyans what happened, and we have to assure Kenyans that we are here to protect all Kenyans, Honorable Speaker. So I support this statement, and I hope that the committee that is going to investigate this matter will investigate up to the very end, so that justice is also done to the families that have lost their beloved ones. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity.
Senator Kavindu, via Zoom. Senator Kavindu. Seemingly she's not there. Finally, Senator Masinza.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to support the statement by Senator Pareno. Mr. Speaker, I support by saying that actually these people who were killed by the KWS, it is not what the GSU, sorry, the GSU officers. It is not worthy killing a life, and if human beings are being killed because of wildlife, and if wildlife are being defended more than human beings, who are going to take care of those wildlife? And yet we are the same people who take care of those wildlife. We are the same people who pay taxes because we want those wildlife to be protected. As much as those wildlife or those animals are taken care, and they give the government a lot of money through the tourist sector, we need to be protected as human beings. And killing haphazardly, the way we are seeing, and this is not the first time, this is not the second time, since I came to this parliament, and when I had not even come to this parliament, members of this members of the community that live near the camp barracks and camp reserves have been killed. We have had so many complaints of members being killed by the wild animals themselves, people being, the members or communities being killed by the officers who take care of these camp barracks. So I just want to argue that what has been underlined here by the Senate or the Senator, let the government take into place what it is, what they are supposed to do, and stop killing. And if at all these officers are known, let them answer the questions, let them be there to answer the questions why they are not protecting, and if they are protecting, why are they protecting to kill? Why should you kill a wild, kill a person because you are protecting a wild animals or a wild animal? So the 5 KSU officers who are held responsible or who are going to be held accountable for this need to be brought to books. And I think this is just a matter of urgency, because even if the Senate is going to adjourn, the matter should just be taken seriously. These people need to be charged and even be sacked, because it's not worthy killing a human being because of a wild animal, whether the wild animal is earning much more to the human being. I think wild animals give birth, human beings give birth, but I think the killing a human being and by the officer of the officer of like a trained officer who is supposed to protect life, it is not worthy, it's not responsible, and I think they just went overboard. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support the statement and say that even if we trespass, even if they trespass in the parks, they are free to do that. There's no problem. We go there, and we should not be taken victims of the circumstances just because we are crossing there. We were born when these camp barracks were not even territories of anybody. So I just want to finish by saying that I salute the.
What's your point of order, Senator Cherargei? She was just winding up.
Mr. Speaker, so that it does not go to unanswered, I don't know whether my good neighbor sister, Senator Shionga, encourages trespass, which is illegal in law. I don't know whether he's encouraging that, because if it goes to unanswered, we don't want the Senate to be misquoted that we encourage trespass, and it is illegal.
Thank you, my colleague, my neighbor. I'm not saying the trespass should be allowed. I'm saying before even they came back, the territories were marked, people used to crisscross with these wild animals. So the same should be the same, even if we are having demarcation, but before people used to trespass and they used to live with these animals. So there was no killing. Even there was no anybody who was there to protect these people and animals. In fact, we were living with these animals as part and parcel of our lives. So I correct you by saying that I said before and not now. But the game parks should be protected, and I salute the sponsor of the statement. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Okay, honorable senators, I think that's a very critical statement. It has been a matter with us for a long time, and I remember in my other tour of service, I did serve in Kajiado as a district commissioner, and we had a lot of those challenges where you find that sometimes animals are given more preference to human beings, and human life, there's no spare life. Once you lose people, you have lost people, and especially in those circumstances, it's very unfortunate. Of course, we appreciate that the minister did come there immediately. Of course, that really happens to bring down the people's emotions, but I think it should not end at that. That's why the committee must bring a report before we go on recess next week on what action has been taken against those officers who killed people as promised by the minister, and what other remedial measures are going to be taken to be put in place so that we avoid unnecessary loss of life. And I always tell people that even as a police officer or in any position you are, always put yourself in the other shoe of the other person, because it could have been you pushing the cart and not being the police officer. So let us always put ourselves in those shoes so that we don't take action that really is extreme, and we make our people lose life. I can imagine what those families are going through, especially the university student, and every life is very important. Having said that, I direct that the committee, the National Committee on Security, produces a report by next week, Wednesday, a comprehensive report on what action has been taken. Next statement, maybe before that, let's have a communication. Honorable Senators, I wish to report to the Senate that pursuant to Standing Orders number 41-3, I have received the following message from the Speaker of the National Assembly regarding the approval by the National Assembly of the Public Finance Management National Government Amendment Regulations 2022, legal notice number 89 of 26 May 2022. Pursuant to the said standing order, I now report the message, and I quote, that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 41-1 and 210-4B-2 of the National Assembly Standing Order, I hereby convey the following message from the National Assembly. So whereas Section 52 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 requires that the limit for public debt be set by Parliament, further, whereas the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury and Planning published a statutory instrument cited as legal notice number 89 of 26 May 2022, being Public Finance Management National Government Amendment Regulations 2022, which amends Regulations 26.1 of the Public Finance National Government Regulations 2015 Principal Regulations by deleting paragraph C and submitting therefore the following paragraph. C, pursuant to the provision of Section 52 of the Act, the public debt shall not exceed 10 trillion shillings. And whereas the National Assembly, by a resolution made on Tuesday, 7th June 2022, considered and approved the said legal notice in the form published and submitted to Parliament, thereby raising the limit for public debt to an amount not exceeding Kenya shillings 10 trillion. Now, therefore, in accordance with the provisions of Section 52 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 and Standing Order number 41-1 and 210-4B-2 of the National Assembly Standing Orders, I hereby refer the said legal notice to Senate for concurrence. Honorable Senators, these regulations were tabled in the Senate on Tuesday, 7th June 2022, and the Sessional Committee on Delegated Legislation is currently seized of the matter. I direct that the committee concludes its consideration of the matter and table its report on Tuesday, 14th June 2022. I thank you. Senator Borgisho, Leader of Majority.
Mr. Speaker, yes. Mr. Speaker, sir, pursuant to Standing Order 52-1, I hereby present to the Senate the business of the House for the week commencing Tuesday, the 14th June 2022. Before I proceed with the statement, allow me to take this opportunity to welcome honorable senators back from the short two-week recess, which was full of political activities in preparation for our next general elections. Mr. Speaker, sir, on Tuesday, 14th June 2022, the Senate Business Committee will meet to consider and approve the business for the week. Subject to approval of the committee, the Senate will consider bills at the second reading stage, bills at the committee of the whole stage, and motions on reports filed by select committees. On Wednesday, Mr. Speaker, the 15th June 2022, the Senate will continue with the business that will not be concluded on Tuesday, 14th June 2022, and any other business scheduled by the Senate Business Committee. While on Thursday, the 16th June 2022, the Senate will continue with business that will not have been concluded on Wednesday, 15th June 2022, and any other business scheduled by the Senate Business Committee. Mr. Speaker, insofar as legislative business is concerned, the agenda before the Senate is quite weighty. There are 7 bills at the second reading stage, a total of 22 bills at the committee of the whole stage, 6 of which are pending revisions as indicated in today's order papers from orders number 11 to 16. Additionally, there are 6 motions on adoption of various reports from the standing committees at orders number 10, 19, and 23 in today's order paper. I take this opportunity to thank all senators for availing themselves during the sitting of the Senate on Wednesday, the 8th June 2022 for the divisions on the county allocation of revenue bills, Senate Bills number 1 of 2022. At the second reading stage, Committee of the Whole stage, and third reading. National Assembly amendments to the Mental Health Bill, Senate Bills number 28 of 2020, and other bills that were pending at the second reading stage. The Speaker, Madam Speaker, other business before the Senate include 46 petitions and statements pursuant to standing orders 47 and 48. In this regard, I also urge standing committees to expedite consideration of the business pending before their respective committees and table the reports accordingly, pursuant to the standing orders before the end of this 12th Parliament. Madam Speaker, allow me to remind honorable senators that apart from today, the Senate has only 3 sitting days before the sine die adjournment of the Senate. And to that point, I'd like to point out that it is imperative that we dispense with all pending business before the adjournment. I, therefore, urge the Senate Majority Whip and the Senate Minority Whip to ensure that the requisite number of senators is present in the House for us to conclude consideration of these matters. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, I wish to aver that we have a brief period to determine the kind of legacy that we wish to leave behind as senators serving during the 12th Parliament, and therefore urge all of us to take a personal initiative in order for us to conclude the business pending before the Senate, that we may leave a befitting legacy which we will be proud of. Madam Speaker, I thank you and hereby lay the statement on the table of the Senate. Thank you.
We move to the next order. Yes, Senator Samson Cherargei.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Majority Leader has given us the business of next week. My only concern, Madam Speaker, is maybe using standing order number 1. I know there are statements and motions that they are supposed, they take 14 days or the parliamentary time, and by the time we might have adjourned synodi for the next session. So my request is, what happens, is there directions that, like the statement from yourself, normally it takes 2 weeks, and maybe by that 2 weeks we might have adjourned, and we know some of these issues might not, because of time limit or limitation of time, might not extend to the next session in August. So my request, Speaker, by your direction and powers of standing order number 1, is there a way as a House we can be able, for some of us who have statements, the period can be shortened. I don't know which provision of the standing orders for the feedback, including statements, motions, and petitions, so that as we adjourn synodi before we go for elections, is that like the issue of your statement, we know what are the directions, can the time be shortened, and I hope the Senate Business Committee and the Majority Leader is here. As they meet even for Tuesday, they should give us a direction. So my request is, how do you go about it, considering the time frame that some of these statements and motions and petitions may take? Is there a way that it can be shortened for us to get answers, or for progress to be made and allow implementation of those resolutions that the House can make? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yes, I note your concern, which is also our concern. We are making statements this late hour, and we are about to adjourn. But I am advised that the committees have already been directed to try and conclude the business that is within their hands, within the time that is available. I have noted that the statements that I just made was given Wednesday, so that the committee is able to report by that day. But committees are directed that they be able to try and conclude with the businesses, especially the urgent ones that they have, within the time available before we close or we adjourn sine die. So let's go to the next order.
Order number 8, the Persons with Disabilities Bill, National Assembly Bills number 61 of 2021, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to give effect to Article 54 of the Constitution, to restructure the National Council for Persons with Disabilities and to provide for its functions and powers, to provide for the institutional framework for protecting, promoting, and monitoring the rights of persons with disabilities, to provide for incentives and reliefs, and for connected purposes.
Honorable Senators, we cannot, looking at the numbers that we have, we cannot proceed with order number 9. Neither can we proceed with 10, order number 10, 11, which is division, 13, division, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, which are all divisions. We don't have the numbers for us to be able to proceed to division. The same to 17, which is committee of the whole, 18, committee of the whole, 19, 20, the chairperson committee on health is not here. The same committee chairperson, standing committee chairperson, standing committee on health, 21. Committee on health chairperson, 22. Committee on health chairperson, 23. Not available. Honorable Senators, all the divisions up to, and the committee of the whole, and the order paper up to 23 deferred to another date. Honorable Senators, there being no other business in the order paper, the Senate stands adjourned until Tuesday 14th, June 2022 at 2:30 p.m.